Well, good morning, Miramar, and welcome to the show. I'm your host, Tamara G. As always, check us out on all of our social media. We are on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at City of Miramar. And with me today, I have Rod Griffin. He is the Senior Director of Public Education and Advocacy for Experian. Yes, one of those big three that we always hear about. We're going to talk about that in just a little bit, as well as the holidays are here now, and so is a time for overspending. So Rod is going to give us a little bit of information and some advice on how not to do that and how to keep your credit intact. So welcome to the show, Rod.
Well, Tamara, thank you so much. Glad to be here.
I am glad to have you because listen, this isn't just a holiday show. This is a all year round show that we're going to be talking about today. But let's just start from the basics. Experian, as I mentioned, is one of the big three, and you all are responsible for credit reports. How and why is it so important for people to have good credit?
Yeah, sure. We are. We're thought of as one of the big three credit bureaus in the U.S. That's actually a part of our business. So I always want people to know we're far more than that. And that's just a piece of what we do. We really want to be what we are kind of calling your big financial friend, your BFF, not like social media, but through financial services. So helping you connect to the right financial tools and resources, things like insurance, if you're buying a car, an auto history report, protect you from fraud and identity theft. All of those things are part of what we do in trying to help people. But most people first, when they encounter us, is because of their credit report. We want that to be a positive experience. Your credit report is really the key to unlocking your financial health and your financial future. If you have a good credit history, it will help you have access to things like the banking system. So not just credit necessarily, but it will help you have opportunities financially to apply for credit. Obviously, things like credit cards or car loans, you'll need an established credit history for getting a mortgage, all of those things. But your credit history also plays a part in things like if you buy that new car, the insurance that you get, not only the car loan, but when you apply for auto insurance, they're going to look at your credit history to make sure you can pay that premium on time. Can help you save on auto insurance as well. So it's far more than just getting a new credit card. Oh, that's an important piece. Things like leasing an apartment. People don't think about that. Your credit history might even play a role in getting a job, not your credit score. Employers never get credit scores. That's a very common myth, but they may look at a limited version of your credit report to verify your identity, make sure you are who you say you are. If you're going to manage a company's money in some way, if you're managing your own money well, you'll probably manage theirs well too. So it gives them a little more insight into what they're looking for when they're hiring you. So not just about credit, but it's a big piece of the puzzle.
Now, Rod, I know you mentioned all of the different, areas in which a good credit score is needed. Things that people may not have thought of, as you mentioned, yes, buying a car, buying a house, we know about that. But even getting insurance, getting a job, because they do pull it to make sure that, you pay your bills on time and you aren't, a thief or anything like that. So all of that comes into play. But what about the people who say, I don't even need credit. I don't want to use credit. Cash is king. Is it still king?
Cash is king, but credit is sort of the queen. And in my house, the queen tends to rule a lot of times. So, my wife, that is, not credit. Credit's a financial tool, just like cash. And that's what I always try to tell people. Credit's a financial tool, debt's the financial problem. You should use credit in conjunction with cash, just like you would any tool in a toolbox. You don't just use one, you use all that's available to you to be the most successful. So, if it, and it's like a hammer, if you're using a hammer, you hit the nail, that's great. If you hit your thumb, not so good. So we
Right.
want to make sure that people use credit well. Credit's going to, again, be able to open doors for things you probably wouldn't have cash for. Things like buying a house. Most of us don't have a few $100,000 lying around or can even save that much at any given time to pay cash for a home. So credit's an important tool in that regard. I always give the example of businesses. Businesses use credit if they're, for example, a trucking company. My wife used to work in accounting for a trucking company, and they would use credit to purchase their trucks and trailers because they could pay really low interest rates, and they would invest their cash. And instead of, they'd pay 3 or 4 or 5% interest on the loans for the vehicles. they would get 7 or 8 or 10% returns on their cash. So they use their money to make money and they use the bank's money to spend. You should think of it that way. Credit's a financial tool. And if you use it well, it can give you financial advantage.
Yeah. I will never forget my grandmother, my beloved Big Mama, was so proud that she could go into any store and just write her name. And
Yeah.
that her word was bond, her credit was good. And those were back in the days. I'm a 70s 80s baby. You go into Sears and you want to buy something or whatever, and she literally could just sign her name and they would let her have it, even at the grocery store. And
Yeah.
so I think a lot of people maybe don't realize, as you've just mentioned, the importance of having a good credit score and not messing it up so that you can use it for maybe those big purchases or and let your money work for you in other ways, but be able
Yeah.
to borrow. And so now we're at this time of the year, Rod, where people just go crazy at this time of the year. They
Yeah.
feel like they have to buy everybody they know a gift in some way, form, or fashion. That's starting from the house to work to church to civic organizations. And how does that get people in trouble during this time of the year?
Yeah, and it is easy to get carried away because you want to make the people you care about happy and your friends and family. There's no more joy than seeing them smile and laugh. And watching our kids grow up was always the most, and we always wanted to have a lot of presents for them to unwrap. Sometimes it was a pair of socks, but they got excited, and that's what we want. And so, what people are telling us, we just did a survey of holiday shoppers, and what they told us was that about half say they're going to use cash for their purchases. About 44% said that they're going to use credit. And then there was the rest were going to use a combination. I think most people will use a combination of cash and credit, which can make sense. If you're using credit for bigger purchases, or better still, if you're using credit for things like getting discounts on purchases or cash back, or if you're going to travel, getting airline miles, credit gives you a financial advantage to use if you then turn around and use your cash to pay that debt right away. And that's what we really want people to see. It's easy to use credit cards to make those quick swipes and not think about it until you get the bill in January. And then those happy holidays turn into the more glum new year potentially. We don't want that to happen. So we want to help people make good credit decisions and find the best terms and resources for them. So, for example, the other thing we ask people is, are you using AI now, artificial intelligence, to help you with your holiday shopping? And about 60%, a little over 60% told us that they're open to doing that. 86% of the people who told us they did use an artificial intelligence search tool said that it made their shopping easier. And the majority said it made it more pleasant as well. So it can be a great tool. We also have an AI at Experian called Ava, the Experian virtual assistant. It can help you find the right credit card offers if you're thinking about opening a new account. We can help you find the right credit card offer with the right interest rates or the right terms, as well as if you're worried about getting a ding on your credit history as a result of applying. We have offers that are what we call no ding decline. So you can apply and not worry about it affecting your credit history. And so that's a good way to look for the right offers.
So
I
when you
would,
see that, Rod, let me
yeah,
just interrupt here because I see
yeah,
that all the time. I get that offer all the time. Check your credit, no ding. Is that really true? It doesn't affect
yes,
your credit score or make it go up or down because people feel like every time your credit
yeah.
is pulled, it's going to go down.
You can check your own credit report as often as you like and not worry about it affecting your credit scores. If you apply or enroll in a free app like Experience, you get a free credit report once a month, a free credit score, and information about what you need to do to help improve that score. If you go to annualcreditreport.com, the government regulated required free report, the law says you have to get a report. We have to provide a report once a year from each of the bureaus. During COVID, we started offering reports once a week. That's now permanent. So you can get a free credit report from each of the three bureaus once a week if you want to. So you could get 156 a year. Don't
I
know you
don't know
need to
why
look at
anybody
it
would
often.
want that, but okay.
Yeah, but you can. And it doesn't affect your credit scores, doesn't affect lending decisions at all. So you don't have to worry about that.
Okay, I'm trying to forget mine. So,
Yeah,
uh,
don't do that.
That's
Be
where I'm at.
proactive.
Mhm. And if you are just tuning in, thank you so much for watching Good Morning Miramar. I'm Tamara G. I am here with Rod Griffin. He is the Senior Director of Public Education and Advocacy for Experian, and he's here to talk about Experian. And again, we are learning so many things that it's not just about your credit report. They also offer many other financial activities and experiences for you to work on your credit or deal with your credit. But we're talking now about this time of the year and how people kind of overspend when they really didn't expect to do that, didn't want to do that. So, how do you put a budget together, Rod? Because,
Yeah.
that's a cursing word in my house. So, a curse word, budget.
Yeah, nobody likes that word, or a lot of people don't. So we call it a spending plan if you want. I have a college professor friend who says we call it a spending plan. I'm a journalism major, so words matter.
Oh,
So
right.
that makes you feel better. Call it a spending plan. Budget's what it is. And a budget's not something you should be afraid of. A budget's a tool and it creates a roadmap for you. It doesn't mean that you're restricting yourself. In most cases, it means that you'll actually expand your opportunity because you will control your money instead of it controlling you. And that's what you really want to do. So when it comes to setting a budget, especially during the holidays, I tell people, be like Santa Claus, not as literally as me, not with the gray hair and the rounding and getting rounder in the middle part, but make a list, check it twice, take it to the store with you. That will help you be more in control of your spending and help you resist some of those temptations. The other thing you need to look at is, what's your income? Where's your money coming from? And then you need to look at where it's going. So quite often the best place to start is to spend a few weeks making a spending diary. Write down where you're spending your money. Write down all of your receipts. You'll know exactly where the money's going. That can help you identify areas where maybe you don't want to spend as much. And it can maybe help you identify areas where you could do more and perhaps save a bit. And then break those out into buckets. If you aren't sure where to start and want help, there are great organizations. The National Foundation for Credit Counseling, for example, is a nonprofit credit counselor. They're not there just for when you're in trouble. They can help you with budgeting and planning. They can look at your financial documents and where you are and help you set a budget before you have issues. So don't be afraid to seek help because it can be intimidating and it can be complicated.
Listen, I was so proud of myself last Friday. It was payday, Rod, and I went into a store and I saw some things and I was like, man, that rug is so cute. It was for outside, I saw outside rug. It was holiday-ish,
Yeah,
everything. And I was just about to put it in my buggy. And I said, do I really need this? And I left it there. And I
yeah,
was patting myself on the back because it's really hard, I think, for people to try to determine what is a need and
yeah,
what is a want. And
yeah.
I know you have to deal with people talking about that all the time.
Oh, we all do. And we can convince ourselves that something we really want is something we really need. And that, and so we all are tempted that way. And it's true for all of us. And I always tell people, like, there's no judgment for me. I made the same mistakes. When I got out of college, I had credit cards. I was paying off one card with another and ended up having to borrow money from my grandma to help me pay them off. Never borrow money from your grandma, especially my grandma. She was the best collector ever. Like grandma guilt is grandma guilt was a real thing, right? So, but so you really need to look at when you say need. What I tell my kids is, if you don't get it, will you literally die? So if not,
You
you don't.
die.
Yeah, you're still going to come see me tomorrow, right? So you don't really need it. I mean, that's the extreme, of course, but food, clothing, shelter, those are the needs. And everything else falls on a scale of want. That's kind of the way I think about it. Some things you want so badly that you feel like you're going to die without them, and you'll find a way to save and get them. Other things, if it's an impulse, what I try to do is like a 24-hour or 48-hour rule. If I see it, I think I want that so bad, walk away. And in a day or two or three, if you still feel that way, find a way to perhaps pay for it. It might be something you have to give up. That's the other lesson about credit that I had to learn, and I think it's really important. If you're going to use credit to make a purchase, you're going to take on debt. that means that you're making a choice, and there's probably going to be something that you need to delay purchasing or perhaps not purchase until you have that debt repaid. And you always be conscious of that balance. And
Yeah.
if you're making a purchase with credit, know why you're doing it, know how you're going to repay it, and know by what date it will be repaid. So hold yourself to those three things. That helps me, and I think it can help with knowing, is it a need or a want, and help me with that temptation. And I think that's really the thing we have to manage, is the temptation.
And it wasn't that much. It was like it was honestly, I think it was like $7 or $8 for
Yeah,
the rug.
yeah.
But that didn't matter. It was more so, if do I really need this rug? And if I get this one thing at $8 and I see another thing at $10 and I see another thing at $50, I've spent $75 before I know it on nothing. I don't even know what this stuff is that I've got.
Yeah, and the keyword stuff, right? And that's the other kind of an indicator that you may be not spending well. And with credit cards, that can be easy to do. You swipe, you bring stuff home, and at the end of the month, you look around and go, "Why am I paying this bill when I get it? I don't even remember what I got. It was just stuff." And controlling the stuff impulse is what's really hard.
Yeah. If you're just tuning in, thank you so much for watching. We're speaking with Rod Griffin. He is the Senior Director of Public Education and Advocacy for Experian. Yes, one of the big three credit bureaus, talking to us about all these endless festivities. Okay, so we've talked about gifts and making that, what do you call it, a spending plan or budget, whichever way you call it. But then listen, do you know how many brunches I have scheduled for this month alone, Rod? I've got friends that want to meet for this, and I got friends that want to meet for this. And so, how do you tell your friends, hey, this is costing me $100 every time we meet?
Yeah, well, here's the reality, and they're probably feeling the same thing, and we don't think about that. What I recommend, and what we do with our families, we start having holiday discussions like in March. It's like, what are we're all planning to get together. We know for this year everybody's coming to my house. So we're gonna have 20 people in our house in a few weeks. And we've already talked about what can we afford. We set limits. My wife and I will tell them, here's your limit for each of our kids and grandkids. And we want to make sure that everyone is comfortable. So we talk about it individually and together, and respect the really the financial realities of everybody in the family. Some people can afford more, some less. So we try to set limits
Mhm.
for all of us can respect and meet without putting strain on the family. It's really about being together in the end. And so if we talk about it early, and what I find is when I talk to my friends or my family and we have that conversation, they almost always say, thank you for having this conversation, because I feel so much better because I had the same concerns. And so if,
So
you
we
know,
aren't going to brunch. We're going to
right.
sit at each other's house and we'll just sit up and talk, and maybe somebody will bring a dish and we'll drink
Yeah,
some
we'll have a
home.
yeah, we'll have a potluck. Everybody bring something, or we'll get together, or we'll combine, our things that we were planning. So there are ways to work together. And people told us in our survey that inflation is a real thing, and it's putting pressure on them, and they're feeling that strain of spending more. And so when you talk to people and say, "Hey, look, I have to put limits on what I'm spending this year. I'm trying to stick to a budget. I'm feeling pressure." I would almost bet that your friends would go, "Me too. Thank you for bringing this up. Let's talk about what we can all do together."
Wow.
And it really is a relief.
Yes, I know, because we're all in the same boat, right?
Right.
Trying to get out of that boat and get onto some solid ground. Now, you mentioned something, because this just happened to me again yesterday. I was in the mall. I was there for another reason. I wasn't shopping, but I was there to pick up something. And literally, when I came through one of the major stores, they stopped me and asked me, did I want to fill out a credit card? You want to fill out? We've got great deals going on now. It's 20% off, and you can get this perfume and whatever. And I just politely said, no, thank you, and walked away. But how many people are going to fall for the okey doke and fill out a credit card, and then the interest rate is like 28% on that, especially for a department store?
And the most powerful word in credit is two little letters. It's NO, no. And also the hardest one to say quite often.
Yes.
So what I recommend is during the holidays, if there's a place that you shop at a lot and they are offering discounts on purchases or something that gives you a financial advantage if you make that purchase, pick one or two and apply for those, get those cards, make the purchases, and then turn around right away and pay it off in full. And that way you won't pay any interest because you're not taking on any debt. It takes 30 days typically for a new account to be reported to Experian after you open the account. And then because that's when the first payments due. And so that's when it appears in your credit report. That's when the debt would appear. It's a 30, 60-day, 90-day cycle, not tomorrow. So if you turn around and pay it in full, you may never see that account on your credit report if you then ask them to close it. Or if you just pay the debt in full, let it report, it might help build your history without taking on debt. That's the real key. But just pick one or two. You don't want 5 or 10 or 12.
Right, because they're everywhere. They're in the middle of the
Yeah.
mall. They're, any place that you can think of to buy, Walmart, because they have their own credit card, and Target and everybody else. So, what would you say about getting that credit? Should you get a store card or should you get, a major credit card like a Visa, MasterCard, that type of thing, American Express?
So it depends on what you're doing and what you need them for. And quite often today, a retail card is owned by a bank. So it's just branded with that store name on the card. So understand the contract that you're signing. They may let you use it other places. They may not. And so that's the thing you have to ask yourself. If I get this card, will I use it here or can I use it elsewhere? Or do I need a card I can use in other places? If you want to use the card in other places, probably not a retail card. But if there's a store you shop at a lot, it might be the right thing for you. It just depends on what you're doing. Or if you're going to make a big purchase, you might need that card for one or two purchases. It might be worth getting. So again, go back to that budget, go back to that list and see what you might use it for and decide if it's the right one for you. And then understand the terms. When does interest apply? And how much will that interest be if you aren't paying the balance in full? But if you can pay the balance in full in most cases, you're not going to carry or pay any interest. So that can be a good way to approach it.
Okay. Well, I can tell you personally, I am signed up with Experian. I check mine about once a month. I check it and see and make sure that, nothing is on there that isn't, doesn't belong to me. That's one thing, because of course, people are doing this and they can make mistakes. So you can always dispute something. But yeah, I do. I check my Experian all the time. I check my score, just to see I get those no ding offers. So but everybody's trying to work on bettering themselves, and we hope that people will do that this season, that they won't make it worse for themselves, right?
Absolutely right. And we want people to get their credit report. We want people to know what's there. That empowers you. When you know what's in that credit history, you'll know what you need to do about it. And if you get a score, a number's helpful, but the credit history is what drives that number. It's the data, the information that's really important. The number just reflects what's in that credit report. So if you take care of that credit report, it will help you get financial access that you need for whatever those financial tools are. And that's what it's really all about. We want to be your big financial friend, as I said. We want to help you be empowered. We want to connect you with lenders and other businesses. We don't want to be a barrier to that. That's what lenders want to say yes. They don't like to say no because then they don't make any money, quite frankly. And you want them to say yes because you need that account and it can give you better financial health. And that's what it's really all about.
Thank you so much, Rod Griffin. He is Senior Director of Public Education and Advocacy for Experian. We've been talking about how you can keep your credit safe this year, and not to use as much of it too, but definitely to make sure that your score stays like it is or even better, and not to go all hog wild this holiday season and end up being in the bushes versus where you need to be. So thank you so very much. We certainly appreciate it, Rod, and have a very safe and fabulous holiday.
Thank you, Tamara, and same to you. Happy holidays and have a great new year if we don't talk before that.
Absolutely. And thank you for watching Good Morning Miramar. Until next time, I'm your host, Tamara G. See ya.